Welcome back to the Peruvian Waltz podcast. I'm your host, Brian Birdie. I'm joining you here from Lima, Peru, as always. And I'm joined by the returning guest, Diego Montalvan, up in Massachusetts. How are you, Diego?
Good. You guys can finally see me now.
Hold on a second. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm sick. I'm probably going to be doing that a lot in the pod. So if you're disturbed, you probably should just listen to it on SoundCloud. But I can't be bothered to turn on my camera every time I have to blow my nose. So just
Okay, we'll just pretend that it's not happening.
Not rated for everyone. Rated for the non-disturbed people. All right, and I'm joined by Christopher Vizcardo as well. How are you, Christopher?
Pretty good. It's good to be back home. As you remember, last week I was in a random airport in Texas, so now I'm back at work. Actually, back in Utah. So it's good to be home for sure, and excited to talk about some World Cup.
Yeah. So I guess we can start with the questions here. Hold on, I was looking at my notifications. I guess we can start with the questions today because I think that's the thing we should get out of the way quickly. So we got two questions. First off, we got from the same name as Diego, Kevin Montalvan. During the qualifiers, which game had you most disappointed, and at what point did you believe Peru could qualify to the World Cup? So I'll go first, I guess. What disappointed me the most in the qualifier, the game against Bolivia, even though we technically ended up winning it in the end, that was the game that I was most disappointed because we were all expecting to win, even if it was an altitude and anything. The build-up to the match, we all thought they were going to win. Let's just be completely fair, and I didn't expect a 2-0 loss, let alone a loss in general. So it was disappointing. As for other results, maybe the 0-0 versus New Zealand as well, and the 2-2 draw versus Venezuela, although that was a blessing in disguise in the end.
Yeah.
Those are the three matches that had me most disappointed. And at what point did I believe we could qualify for the World Cup? Because I'm as realistic as possible, I thought after the Ecuador game we were going to qualify for the World Cup. Before that, I say, no, it's too late, or remaining fixtures are too tough. We're not going to make it. We ended up going up unbeaten. So it was an interesting road. Christopher, what is your thoughts? What is your most disappointing games, and what do you believe you can still qualify?
You know, the thing with the match against Bolivia, I think I would agree with you, but at the same time, we have had a hard time defeating Bolivia at the Hernando Siles Stadium in the last few years. It hasn't really been that easy. So I mean, I was sure that we were gonna have a good score, but I wasn't that surprised that we ended up losing. But to me, the biggest disappointment was probably the game against Venezuela. Also because it brought back awful memories of our 2014 qualifying campaign, where we were in a similar situation. We had Venezuela and Uruguay, right? And we ended up losing both of those matches. And again, this time around, we had Venezuela and Uruguay, right? And after we were going down to 2-0, I was like, okay, well, this is it. And then the fact that we were able to go 2-2, and then with 30 minutes still left, not able to find that third goal, felt very disappointing because it just made me. It gave me a wave of feeling negative, of bad energy. I guess it just didn't give me a lot of hope for the game against Uruguay. But obviously, I mean, we know the rest of the story and how all of that turned out in the end. But I think that was the game that angered me the most. That one, and maybe even the game against Venezuela at home too, where we barely won that game on the 93rd minute with a late goal by Raúl Ruiz Diaz. Now, as to when did I think that Peru was going to qualify for the World Cup, I think I'm a positive person, right? I honestly, after the game against Paraguay, where we won 4-1, I think that was kind of I don't know. That really gave me a lot of excitement for what came ahead, and the fact that we could actually defeat our opponents by such a large margin. It just gave me a lot of hope on the team. So I know that for some people that was probably a little early, right? Especially considering that we still had the game against Ecuador, Uruguay, had to go fight against Argentina. But to me, that 4-1 and the fact that we won away from home for the first time in 12 years, that was that's what kind of told me, you know what, we can actually make it to the World Cup.
No, I was thinking the same thing around that Paraguay game, but after the loss versus Brazil, I'm like, oh, okay, it's over again. Our World Cup run lasted 4 days, so that's what I was thinking. I still said, and I think game against Venezuela at home was horrible. They couldn't make a first touch. They couldn't make 2 passes. They couldn't string 2 passes together. It was embarrassing. I'll go to Diego. What are your thoughts on all this? And do you agree with us? What do you think was your disappointment and my expectations?
Yeah, for me, the game that had me most disappointed was the game against Venezuela, the tie. And then after you said the other one with Paraguay, that one also was very disappointing to me. But the one that made me believe that we could qualify again was definitely the one against Uruguay when we beat them 2-1. That one just, I don't know, it brought back something in me that I was like, okay, this is it, we're going for it.
Yeah, having Bolivia next as well also helped. So that was a positive. Let's go to the next question. The next question is kind of an interesting one. It's from our usual question asker, Abel Gamarra at Abalanda81. He says, do Peruvians overrate the quality of Mudo Rodriguez? Various English podcasts I have listened to have described Mudo as an okay defender at best. Most concur that Peru was lucky that Wood was not fit for New Zealand because he was giving most central defenders huge problems. Follow-up. Personally, I think Mudo is the best Peruvian defender I've seen, but just does not seem to get anywhere near the respect as the other 2 Peruvian veterans, Paulo and Farfan, get from non-Spanish speaking media. So I'll let Diego go again first. Diego, what do you think? Do we overrate the quality of Mudo Rodriguez?
No, I don't know. I mean, I think because we watch him all the time with Peru, and we keep tabs on them because we are Peruvian. I don't think we overrate him at all. I think he's actually a solid defender. I think because in the clubs that he's played for, maybe he hasn't gotten as much attention from the English speaking media as, you know, Fang being, you know, he was at Schalke and then now he's in Russia. But in Paulo Guerrero beating Chelsea, for example, with Corinthians in the Club World Cup, I think that's what got them to more exposure than Mudo Rodriguez.
Oh yeah, I just saw something on Twitter saying that Rodriguez's transfer has been confirmed to Seattle. While I'll let Christopher talk. I was going to say something on those lines, but I'll let Christopher go first, just so I can check this news. So go ahead, Christopher.
Yeah, so I would agree with Diego. I think that no, I don't think he's overrated. I think he's a very good player. Let's be honest here. The reason why Paolo and Farfan are known to the outside world is because they played abroad, and especially because they played in the Bundesliga. Yeah. I think if neither one of them had played in the Bundesliga, if Farfan had stayed in the Netherlands, if Paolo had done most of his career in Peru or something like that, it's because there's the big leagues that everybody follows, and if you're in one of those leagues, there's a chance that people will know you. And if you're not in one of those top leagues in Europe, then even if you're a really good player, there's not a lot of chance that people are going to know you. I don't think he's underrated. We've talked about his situation and how things could have been different for Mudo Rodriguez in previous podcasts, and I think the conclusion is that unfortunately he's one of those brilliant players that had too many injuries, and it happens. I think there's a lot of players that unfortunately have those kinds of careers that you can see a lot of potential. You can see that they have a lot of raw talent, but they have a bad knee. I mean, the thing that comes to mind is I'm not comparing Garrincha to Mudo Rodriguez, but for example, Garrincha in the 60s, right? Such a wonderful player, only played in Brazil. Most people barely know him or don't know him at all, right? Because Pelé was such a wonderful player, and Pelé, won 3 World Cups and whatnot. Garrincha was alongside him the whole time, but he just wasn't as big of a media exposed player, and he had health problems and he had other troubles. And so people maybe in Brazil know him, but I doubt that unless you're a really hardcore soccer fan, you would know about who Garrincha was and what his career was and what, unfortunately, how his life ended. One last thing one last reason why people might not know too much about Mulo Rodriguez is the fact that he's also a defender, and defenders don't score as many goals as forwards do. I mean, it's the forward's job to score goals. So therefore, they're going to show up in the front pages of the news more often than defenders having a great game defending, because this is just not as interesting to read about as the man that actually scores the goals. So yeah, I mean those are kind of the reasons, but no, I still think that Mulo Rodriguez is an excellent player, and yeah, who knows? I think this is going to be a great way to end his career if he decides to end it after this. I think this is a great way to do it.
I hate the sickness. I hate the fever. Okay, no, what I was gonna add. Well, Ruidiaz, firstly, he is off to Seattle. They just confirmed it.
Monarcas, yeah.
I just looked at the comments. The Mexicans are not happy at all. So it's a good sign that he's made himself a name there. But anyways, I very much concur with Diego's point that we are the most qualified to judge Mulo Rodriguez. We're the ones who watch him, which is kind of the sad thing about football fans nowadays. If someone from someone's team or someone's country qualifies as someone that's good on their own team, they are seen as biased, and that is really annoying because, I mean, we're the ones who are most qualified to see him. I would rather watch most games of this player, and we're going to judge some of the doing well and judge some of the doing badly, and it doesn't make us biased. It just it means that we've watched enough games of him to judge him, and if you want to believe that, then that's up to you. Now, I'm not trying to rant here or anything because we're doing this. We're saying this indirectly, but I think that we don't. My point is that we don't overrate his quality. I think that we just think he's really good because we've been watching him for the last 12, 14 years around there. And he's not had the best career achievements. I mean, the best thing he's done is reach a Europa League final, Braga. But otherwise, he's not had the best career achievements in the world. And I think that he's a very good defender. I think maybe some people can overrate him.
But he's done great with La Blanquirroja.
Right.
Yeah. I can think. I could see why people think I overrate him because I say he's one of the best defenders in South America. But again, it's all opinion based, so can't really. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to say, to be honest. But anyways, does anyone else have any other things to add to that? Christopher, what do you think?
No, regarding Mulo Rodriguez, I think it's about it. I mean, we like I was saying, we discussed it a few podcasts ago, and they can go ahead and listen to that. How he did play in some big clubs. For Portugal standards, it was a pretty decent club, and he made it all the way to the finals of the Europa League, to the point where even Cristiano Ronaldo knew who he was, right? And that was kind of the highlight of his career. Unfortunately, he lost that final. But who knows, if he had won that final, maybe he would have gone to something even bigger. But, yeah, I mean, Mulo Rodriguez is still a great player, and I'm sure that more people will get to know him with this World Cup.
All right, so is that enough for the questions? Let me just see quickly. I guess we can go with the Peru-Sweden game now, which is the last thing we went over. And I'll let you guys go first. Christopher, I'll go back to you. What do you think on this game? What was the disappointment? What were your high points, etc.?
Me and Andre Carrillo have a love-hate relationship right now. Honestly, I mean, he did such a good game against Saudi Arabia, and of course, Sweden was a tougher rival for sure, right? But man, again, people are gonna blame it, maybe on the pitch, the fact that they kept watering it every time they had a chance, and they said that was very slippery. And they kind of say that that's partially why he wasn't able to control the ball as he usually does. I mean, I want to think that there was like 3 or 4 different times there where he slipped, where he had a beautiful chance, where things were going our way, and all of a sudden Carrillo just could not control the ball, and then there he goes tumbling to the ground. So, Even though he had an okay game, well, he said it, he still had a pretty good game. I'm trying to say, but yeah, I mean, I kind of wish I could have seen a little bit more of him. I think that the team overall had a pretty good game. I think that we have to realize that we were playing in Sweden, where for the first time in a long time we were not locals. We were actually the away team for once. And the fact that we were able to pull a 0-0 and that we were able to pull ourselves back from such a horrible start, honestly, because the first 15, 20 minutes was all Sweden. And it was like Peru could not get 2-2 together, right? And from there to the last 15 minutes of the match, Peru basically dominated in the field and being able to create chances for themselves. I think that's something really positive, right? I think we really needed to face a really tough opponent. I mean, other than Croatia, you can argue that the rest of the opponents weren't really that that tough on Peru, that challenging for Peru. So therefore, I think overall it was a good match, kind of to test their strength. I mentioned also in the last podcast that this was going to be Gareca's last chance to try Paulo and Farfan, having them from the get go, and he tried that. That was tried. It's good at that. I don't know. We still don't have any information for sure to know if they will be playing together on Saturday. But it was good to see him try, right? It was good to kind of see that set up on the field, just because a lot of us had questions on whether that would work or not. And I still don't. I still wouldn't discard it. I think there's still a chance. I don't know if it would be from the get go, but I can see the last 30 minutes of a game, Farfan and Guerrero together, trying to do something for Peru. But at least from the get go, I kind of see probably Flores or Cuevas or even Carrillo stepping out, right?
You
And then Farfan
hesitated so
becoming
much
the
to say
first
that.
sub.
You
And even
hesitated so much to say that. You
and
hesitated so
even
much to say
no,
Carrillo.
I'm for real. So I'm for real. So I mean, honestly, every single one of our players is very valuable, but and we don't want to get rid of them, right? But we still like Paolo's is our number 9, and he needs to start. So therefore, unfortunately, we're not going to see Farfan and Paolo, in my opinion, not from the beginning, but I do see him playing the last 30 minutes of a game together and really kind of creating that magic, and really maybe turning a game around for Peru if necessary, as we see these three games coming on the group stage. But yeah, I think so. Sweden was a pretty tough side. I think they were pretty good. I think we have to give kudos, especially to, I want to say it's Forsberg, right? I think he was probably one of the best ones on the field. I think Sebastian Larsson had also had a good game on the Sweden side, and I think on the Peru side we have to say that Trauco had probably a better game than he had against Saudi Arabia. And also, we have to say that Advincula probably had a pretty good game, if not the best that Peru had to offer. So those are kind of my thoughts on that.
I personally don't like the 4-2-4 at all. I think that Guerrero and Farfan, in the old days, it worked because one player was very pacey, the other player was somewhat pacey. Now with both at 35, they both can't keep up. If you put them in an athleticism race with the speed race, they won't be able to keep up because they're just not fast enough. It's that simple. So I think that one of them has to be in the bench, and it can't be Paolo because his whole problem with him and the anti-doping thing. I mean, we've all been saying, "Oh, Paulo has to play the World Cup," and now just because of profile, he has to play it. And I'm not saying he should. Farfan should start over Guerrero based on recent performances because I think Guerrero's a star of the team. But even if he wasn't, I mean, just because of profile, you got to start him. I mean, all this problem to have him on the bench, I mean, it doesn't make sense. But I digress. And I think Flores, Cueva, and Carrillo are all very dynamic. I think they have to start together in a 4-2-3-1. And I think that's the way to go with Yotun Tapia in the midfield, and then Flores, Cueva, and Carrillo behind Guerrero. That's what I think needs to happen. Now, before I go on my points over this match, let's let Diego talk. Diego, What was your full thoughts on this game? What were your high points and your low points?
Yeah, for me, like you guys all said, it was a tough game. I think we had to learn a little bit more about us defensively and how we would work defensively, and that's why I think Tauco and Advíncula both had really good games because they were tested more defensively. But in that game, I also feel like we didn't play 100%, which was to be expected because it was the last game before the World Cup. No one wanted to get injured. I do expect, like you guys are mentioning right now, with Farfán and Guerrero, I think Guerrero's going to be on. I think Farfán is going to be on the bench. That's what I think. I personally think it will be Guerrero, and behind him will be Flores, Cueva, and Carrillo. Like you said, they're dynamic. They can pretty much rotate. The three of them can rotate within the three spots, which will help us. And also, little fun fact: we've never lost when the four of them have played together.
Okay.
We haven't lost. We've lost, I think, 3 times since Flores and Cueva have come. Well, no, Cueva's been in the team since Gareca's got started. But since I think since Flores started, began as a starter, since the Copa America, we've lost, I think, only 3 games, and then since 2017 they started, we have lost any game, which is crazy. We are the 3rd longest unbeaten run at the moment. Belgium and Spain are above us. So,
but when the 4 of them have started together, we've never lost.
Exactly. So I think that they have to start. Carrillo, he can be a bit lazy all you want. Yeah, he have his lazy games. I know Christopher's loving that. Cueva could be a light bulb. He can turn on and off. You don't know when he's gonna show up. Less lazy than Carrillo, but he's a bit inconsistent sometimes. And Flores, he's not always gonna impact the game, but because the influence they have is so impactful to the system that it's very important. I'm gonna go over to Christopher because I really need to blow my nose. Sphere sucks. Christopher.
Wait, what was your question, Brian? I had a hard time hearing what you said there last.
I was calling you to take over because I'm trying to blow my nose.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's embarrassing. Well,
it is.
I was actually just thinking. It looks like Carrillo is going to be going back to Portugal, which is unfortunate. He had his chance at the Premier League and at Watford, and unfortunately, he wasn't quite up to the standard. We know that English football is very tough, right? And we've seen examples of this before. Diego Penny had a try at it, and came back just after a few months. Maybe I think he only played 1 game. Maybe Claudio Pizarro, the great Claudio Pizarro, when he was a Peruvian superstar, had his go at the Premier League. He only lasted 1 season, and I believe he only played a few games. Also, we're seeing the same thing with Carrillo. I think honestly, Solano is probably the only Peruvian that has been able to stay consistent in England, right? And so. He's still young.
I'd say Israel Zuniga was also was not that bad for Coventry.
Jeez, holy cow! You're bringing back some old memories, man. I didn't even remember that. But yes, you're right.
He was definitely the 2nd best. I'll say that much.
Yeah. Okay. I would agree. I would go with that. Holy cow! Israel Zuniga is so old that he was off my radar at this point. But yes, you're right. He also played in England. I think that Carrillo's going to be going back to Portugal, right? So, but who knows? We still have a World Cup ahead of us, so anything could happen. I'm hoping that he will have a good tournament, and that maybe, who knows, he'll go back to England or he'll go to France. I think France would be an excellent market for Carrillo. Even a lower team in the Bundesliga would be interesting for Carrillo. But obviously, I think. He's been in Portugal for too long, and I think he's proven himself in Portugal. I think he's ready for something more than that.
I would really, really like to see Carrillo in La Liga.
Really? Okay. Okay.
Some like a team like Sevilla, Villarreal, Valencia, because I think he could do a really, really good job there. I don't know. That's me. I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. I see him like, let's be honest. I don't think he's going to be joining Bayern Munich anytime soon, or Barcelona, obviously.
No, no.
But yeah, like a pretty decent team and one of the big five would like. I think he would stand out. I think that would be very interesting to him
I
to
think
see
I
in La
think
Liga.
I think the Bundesliga will fit this game perfectly because the Bundesliga is they're all hard. Even though the quality isn't great, I'm one that finds the Bundesliga extremely overrated. But even though the quality isn't great, there's one thing I can say about it. There's one good thing I can say about the league. They're very hardworking and they're very dynamic. I mean that's the kind of player Carrillo is. He's not hardworking. Okay, let's put that to the side. Very dynamic when he's on his game, and I think that sort of style will suit him. So I'm going to go with I think the Bundesliga is a good place for him. Now, as for my points on the match, because I guess I can give them now, I think that Sweden are the best side we've faced so far. I was impressed by them. They were a less limited Iceland, let's put it that way.
Yeah, for sure.
It was harder to play them because they were in Gothenburg, so it wasn't it was never going to be the easiest match. I said in the last pod that, you know what, I think that we are going to draw or lose, and Peter's like, no, we're going to beat them, and I'm like, no, we're going to draw or lose, and he's like, no, we're going to beat them. And look, guess who was right? As always, it was me. I was the one who was always right. Just kidding, Peter. You know a lot about this, but I was right. I hate to admit it, but anyways, it was they're a very well drilled side. But I don't think Peru were particularly awful. I think they were creating chances. I think the one letdown was that they weren't shooting enough at net. So I think that that we didn't get enough shots away. That's kind of what let us down our dangerous chances. That's why Sweden got more dangerous chances. Most of our shots were off counters, and we had one very tricky situation with Farfan at the very end. But it was disappointing from an offensive point of view. But in the midfield, I think we were fine. I think we slightly edged the possession, and I think what we did with the ball was good enough. I think how we release the ball. What I mean by that is shoot it. I don't think we did enough. And oh my gosh, I gotta clean this. I was hoping I could finish that sentence,
but
sorry, the pod is a bit slow. By the way, it's I'm just sick and I can't do a great host job with my nose all runny. So yeah, Diego, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, but also agree with everything that you're saying. But like I said, I don't think that we played to our full potential, and maybe Sweden either, because like I said, the World Cup was around the corner. I don't think anyone wanted to get injured. So that's what I think too.
Yeah, no, that is a good point. And you mentioned it earlier. I didn't remember it, but I did think Peru was touching around the ball nicely, making a few nice passes, making a few nice dummies around. That's kind of what I'm going at. I mean, we played a Euro game. We showed that we still had it in us. Now the big one comes against Denmark, and we'll see how we do. So I guess is there anything else you to add? I'm not too sure. I think we just go into the game with Denmark. Okay. So this is really worrying because just like us, Denmark have three really good attacking midfielders. Yusuf Poulsen, Pionne Sisto, and Christian Eriksen. Of course, the great Christian Eriksen. Difference is they don't have a great forward. Bednar is usually talisman. I mean, you could argue a club level is not great, but at international level, he's got the job done. He's got more than 30 international goals, which in Europe it's a bit easier, but it's still not easy to do at all. So I think that it's good that he's not in the World Cup because now I'm gonna have to deal with Nikolai Jorgensen, who isn't great. He's not as good as Paolo, of course, but I mean, you get the point. You have three very good attacking midfielders. Pionne Sisto is one that really worries me. And now, as of recently seen Poulsen, I'm like, okay, this guy's a danger man as well. And Christian Eriksen, I believe, needs no introduction. Diego, what are your thoughts? I'll let you go first because you're the one who follows more European football than all of us.
Yeah. No doubt that Christian Eriksen is going to be the man to look for. But like I said today, we're not going to play against just one man or just that midfield that you just mentioned. We're going to play against the whole team. And because of that, I think that Gareca always finds a way, or I think he studies his matches well enough to know what's going to come at him and to know how to prepare for this game. And it will be no different. I think that we will be well prepared for those three. And besides them, I think they also do have a pretty decent backline. with
Christensen.
Christensen and the other kid from Sevilla. I can't remember his name right now. But they also have
The
Forsberg from Ajax.
Tiger.
Yes, that's yep. So they do have a really good team, and I think they will give us a run for our money. But like I said, I 100% believe in Gareca, and so I think we'll be fine.
I'll just go to the next one. I don't have any extra thoughts yet, so I'll let Christopher give his thoughts before I do.
Okay, I think the secret will be for us to try to, or I think their weakness is probably the middle, right? Smack in the middle. I think their fullbacks, their center defenders are probably a good way for us to create chances for ourselves. If we kind of focus there and try to spread wide on a Y shape, go through there and then spread out, I think that can help us create some chances. I mean, we shouldn't be talking because obviously one of our defenders is 35 years old, but Tiger, who is the captain of the team, is 29, right? As I'm looking at the list of players here, and he's. I'm going to say that that they could play towards their advantage. I think that we can do a lot of damage with our young guys, right? I think, like we were saying, they are very fluid. They are able to play wherever, and it's not like they just stay put in one spot, but they a lot of the times end up trading places with each other, and that can really confuse the defenders. And I think that's kind of maybe a little bit of the secret to what could be our success in our game against them. I think they're a pretty good side. I think that the fact that Sweden tied against Denmark and then we tied against Sweden, I think that says a little bit of something. I'm optimistic as usual, right? And I'm like really not that worried. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting match for sure. It's just like I just have so many feelings, right? Because it's the fact that we're going back to a World Cup and we want to get out of the group stage and all of that. There's just a lot of positive energy, and I'm hoping that come Saturday, all of this is going to be able to just like I'm going to be able to breathe and get it all out. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we're all nervous. We're all nervous, and I think one of the biggest talking points I think has to be that Denmark are going to open up a little bit more than Sweden and Iceland. Because Iceland and Sweden, they don't have great players, so to be world drilled, they're kind of more compact and more structured. Whereas I think Denmark's going to be a little more fluid because they have a bit more quality. I mean, the likes of Poulsen, Eriksson, and Sisto, like I mentioned, you don't have those players with Sweden and Iceland. I mean, Iceland has their Sigurdsson, for example, who is a good player. I think he's a good player. I rate him quite a bit, but he's not like Eriksson. Let's be frank. And you have more than one player. You have more than just one Eriksson. I mean, maybe not one Eriksson, but you have more than just one like Sisto or one Sigurdsson. A better example. You have Sisto. You have good quality players like Christensen at the back. I'm not completely familiar with the Danish team, but I know a few players. And not all the names are coming to me right now. There's Jorgensen, of course, who's probably the forward instead of Bentner. And Schmeichel, Kasper Schmeichel is a very good keeper. Obviously, the Premier League champion is not as good as his father, but he's still quite good, I think. And, I think they're going to be a bit more fluid than the other teams. I think they're going to open up a little bit more, and I think that's going to come to our favor. But they're still a very good side. I believe they're 50 matches unbeaten, just like we are. So we got to watch out. What do you guys think?
I think piggybacking off what you guys said, this game will depend a lot on Yotun and on Tapia, them winning the middle and holding off those three midfielders.
Hey, Christopher, what do you think?
Well, I think that Sisto to them is what Advíncula is to us, a very, very fast player. I think that I like how you mentioned him, Brian. I think that there is someone that is not as famous, obviously, as Eriksson is for Denmark. And obviously, there is someone that we always need to keep our eyes on because, it's a young guy that's had a I always like the good stories, Brian, but it's a young guy that's had a tough past, right? And he's made it to the World Cup, and he could be Denmark's dark horse for me. You know, he could be the man that makes the difference in their lineup. So he will be for sure someone that we need to look out for. But other than that, I've been trying to listen to a lot of not just Peruvian media, but international media and their opinions on the Denmark team. And they say, you know, this is not the Denmark of the 90s, you know. And so there's a lot of back and forth opinion in different circles going on whether Peru or Denmark will be the runner up in this group. And a lot of people think that Peru has a chance, that it's not like Denmark has it in the bag, honestly. So I think we can still surprise them, especially with our collective game. And if we make sure to always focus on that, I think that is the secret of our team, to always play Peruvian style, play low to the ground, and play collectively, and kind of, you know, keep each other in mind and know where the rest of the team is and how they're lined up. And I think that's the best way that we'll be able to defeat Denmark.
I think the next question has to be, what are your overall expectations for this match? I mean, we indirectly answered it, but I mean, if I were to directly ask you, what are our expectations? I mean, what do you guys think? I want to hear what your point of view is. I'm personally thinking we should win. I mean, well, we should win. I'm thinking we will win. That's better. That's a better point to put it, because obviously I think we all know we should win, but is it if we will or not? Diego, what do you think?
I think we will win, and I don't know why, but going into this tournament, I felt very confident. And then after Gareca had his speech in La Videna, it just made me even more confident. I don't see us, or I don't think that we'll lose to Denmark.
And Christopher?
Like they say in the United States, whether you love or hate the chant, I believe that we will win. So I still don't think that I think that it's going to be a close game, right? Let's not get crazy. This is not going to be one of those like 3-1, 4-0 games. Obviously, I think it's going to be very close. I think that we're really going to have to fight for it, right? They're not going to give it to us on a silver platter. I'm going to dare say that I'm expecting probably a 2-1, and at some point we're going to be scared and we're going to be going down, you know. But I think that the team is resilient enough to always, you know, come back and find strength, even especially when they are down, to come back and win that game. So I'm gonna say 2-1. I think for me that's kind of what's the most probable, the most possible.
I guess before ending the pod, my biggest concern here is that I think that a draw is not going to be enough, because we think we could be, because it comes on a goal difference, but we don't want to make it unnecessarily tougher, because just because of the order of games we have France second. Let's be fair, we're not favorites for that game at all. We shouldn't expect to win it. We should hope we will win it rather, but I think
or tie.
Or tie.
Or time, yeah, that's not a bad option.
But Denmark have Australia, and you guys know I love Australia, but all due respect, I don't think they're very good, especially not this time around. So Denmark should offload them pretty easily, and then we have Australia last. So it's going to be a matter of how many goals do we win by in that game, and we can't be overconfident there, because Australia aren't the easiest side in the world, and they have a side of personality. They're a side that can show up, and when they choose to have a good game, they'll make things difficult. Look how they did to Chile last year in the Confederations Cup. So I think we're under more pressure than Denmark, just because of the order of games, which kind of sucks. I'll let you guys jump in on that opinion quickly, and then we can end the pod. What do you guys think? Who wants to jump in first?
I'll go first. The first thing that jumps to my head right now is I was reading about this Danish journalist. I can't pronounce his name. Gisel Thorsen, I believe his name is. And he had said that when we first heard that we were going to face Peru, we were happy. But now that we've seen, you know, the string of games that the 15-game unbeaten run that we're on, and what Gareca has done to the team, and how our players have been playing, we don't feel like that anymore. We are a bit worried, and I like that we're finally getting some type of respect.
That's good. That's good. And Christopher, I'll let you go next.
Well, I guess I'll close with a few pieces of trivia. First of all, Peru has always faced a World Cup champion, right? In every time that they played in the World Cup, they faced the World Cup champion. So, I mean, if the trend continues, who knows? Maybe France. Yeah, I mean, of course, we're still talking about the Denmark game, but hey, yeah, that could be a possibility. Also, Peru does really well when their opening match is against their direct rival and who's supposed to be even a side that's stronger than them. I think that was the case with Scotland, right? And then we also have the opposite, where Peru's the favorite, and Peru was favorite at the World Cup against Cameroon in '82. We flopped, and it was horrible. So I mean, that's also something positive on the side of Peru. Other than that, I'm gonna try to post on social media, but I did find some footage, or I have some footage of the Peru Denmark game, the only game that we played against them, where they beat us back in the '90s during a little friendly tournament in the United States. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people in the Peruvian media that say, "Well, we never played him before." It's like, yes, we played him once, guys. Like, we have footage. Okay, there's proof. So I think those are just good pieces of trivia. Exactly. Christopher Viscardo only. Got the news flash. Anyways, but other than that, another funny, interesting piece of trivia is that we are currently the unofficial world champions.
Yes.
Right. So that's always awesome. That's always awesome. So we're going into the tournament as the unofficial world champions, and as long as we don't lose a match, we'll continue to retain that title. Even if we're eliminated like by penalties or something, we will continue to retain that title. So yeah, well, let's see where that goes. And with that, yeah, I guess I am very excited. And arriba Peru.
There you go.
Arriba Peru.
There we go. That's a good way to end it. And yeah, my Twitter handle is B_Bertie98. Apologies for the shorter pod. There's not much source of discussion with my runny nose that I have right now with my fever. It's a bit hard to successfully host a pod. I'm doing my best, guys. But anyways, Christopher, what is your Twitter?
I am at VIC_FC.
Thank you, Viz. And Diego, what about you?
I am at DMONTALVAN. And
you can follow the Peruvian Waltz Twitter at Peru Waltz, not Peru Waltz. Peru Waltz. So that's going to end the pod. And thank you for listening or watching, whatever you chose. Hopefully listening, because you don't have to see my running nose all the time. Thank you. And yeah, see ya. We're signing off.